Okay, I can see the chats now. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, everyone. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Bhaskara, Joju, Manish, Minesh, Raj, Shubham, Vikas, Ranjan. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. And welcome back to the third day and the last day of JavaScript Essentials. And today we are going to perform DOM manipulation. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Arun, Preeti, Sarma, Gaurav. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the third day of JavaScript Essentials. I hope I'm audible and you guys can see my screen properly, right, everyone? Just confirm me that once, everyone. Am I audible? Can you guys see my screen? And I'll also zoom the font size for you. I am great, Anupam. I'm great. How are you guys? Okay, that is great. That is great. Okay, so yesterday we finished off at arrays, right? Yesterday we finished off at arrays and we saw how to create arrays and how to put elements in it and how to actually display it on the console. So now today we are actually going to perform DOM manipulation. Till now, we were only focusing on how JavaScript is as a programming language. We saw like how to create variables, how to write loops, how to write conditions, how to create arrays. Now today, we are going to see one of the most important works that JavaScript does. That is DOM manipulation. Okay. So everyone, are we excited for today's days? Everyone, are we excited for today's lecture? Guys, please tell me. Till that time, I'm going to create one new folder on the desktop in which we are going to like create everything for today. Because today I'm also planning to create a mini project. Okay. Yes, yes, Rajnaran. I am going to explain functions today. Don't worry. Not like in the very deep. Okay. But at least because we don't have a lot of time to go in very deep in each and every concept. But at least I'll try to show you how to create a function and how to execute it and how to use it in a proper way. And also I'll define you like I'll give you the basic definition of functions. So don't worry about it. Okay. So now let's go ahead and let's create a new folder and let's call it to do underscore list, because like this is what I'm thinking that we can create today. Like we have 1 hour and 45 minutes. Okay. And we also have to learn the basics of DOM manipulation. We also have to learn how to create functions. So considering all that, this is the project that I came up with. Okay. Like in the previous JavaScript essentials, I created some pretty cool projects because they were like we had 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. Now in this, we have 3 days. So this is what I have came up with. We can create a simple, good-looking to-do list app. So everyone, are we fine with this basic project? Because we only have 1 hour 45 minutes. Okay, and I'm trying to like create a mini project. At least I want to create a project so that you can see how to apply things, how to use the things that you have learned. So this is what I'm planning to create. So we'll first cover basics of DOM manipulation. Then we'll see functions or maybe functions before DOM manipulation. And then we'll directly move ahead to create like in creating of the to-do list. Okay. So this is what we're going to create today. So let's go ahead and let's open that in our VS Code. So here we go. To-do list. Later. Okay, fine. That's perfect. Okay, everyone. So let's start now. Okay, now till the last session, we saw that we were using JavaScript inside the script tag in the same HTML page, right, everyone? Till now, we were writing JavaScript in the same HTML page by using the script tag. Now, today, the first thing that we're going to see is how to write external JavaScript, how to write JavaScript separately, not in the HTML page. Okay, and that's why it is also called as external JavaScript, because you write JavaScript separately and you write HTML separately so that you can maintain the code in a better way. Because see, what if your HTML code is very big and your JavaScript code is also very big? So in that case, you have to move up and down in the HTML page to make some changes in the JavaScript or to make some changes in the HTML. So it's better to create a separate JavaScript file if you feel you're going to have a lot of JavaScript code. Okay, so today the first thing that we're going to see is how to create a separate JavaScript file and connect it to your HTML page so that they can run properly. Okay, everyone. So let's go ahead and let's do it. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to create a simple HTML file. So let's name it index.html. Okay, so we have the file. And now today we are going to have a separate JavaScript file, right? So let's go ahead and let's create a separate file. So let's name it index. Now the extension here would be JS. It's like CSS. You write .css if you're creating a CSS file. So here we're going to simply say .js because we are creating a JavaScript file. So now this file that we have created is completely for JavaScript. You're not going to write any HTML or CSS here. It is completely for JavaScript, completely dedicated to JavaScript. But now let's start with the HTML part. Okay, so doc type HTML, then HTML, then let's say we have the head. Now you guys also have shortcut for this, but I'm just writing it so that you can like have one more revision of how to write this. Okay, so it's totally fine. Here we go. And now let's go in the title and put something like to do list, something like that. Now till now, we were writing JavaScript inside the HTML page. So JavaScript knew for which page I want to work. But today we have created a separate JavaScript file. So the most important thing, the first important thing that you have to do here is you have to link both the pages so that the JavaScript can understand, okay, fine, this index.html is my HTML page. That means I have to work with that. So that the HTML page also understands that, okay, fine, this is my JS file. I have to take my JavaScript workings from there. So for that, you have to link both the pages. And that's again really simple. You're going to use the same tag to link pages as well. So simply use your script tag again. Okay. And then here, now see, normally what you do is you open the script tag and you write your JavaScript here. But today we have a separate JS file. So we're not going to do that. So today you simply go in the opening tag, opening script tag, and then simply pass an src attribute. And inside src, simply pass the path, or if it is in the same folder, directly the name of your JavaScript file. And that's it. Simple. Now that's how you have linked your HTML file and your JS file. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Everyone. So that's how you connect your JS file and HTML file. And now, just to check if it is perfectly connected, let's do one thing. Let's run this HTML file. Okay, so let's go in your browser. Let me take a browser window for you. Okay, here we go. Paste it, open the console. Okay, and now just to confirm if it is perfectly linked and working, let's do one thing. Let's simply put a console.log in JavaScript. Okay, like let's say I am working, something like that. Now, if it prints on the console, that means it is perfectly connected. If it doesn't print, that means there is some issue. So let's save both the pages. Normally, in whatever page you make some changes, save that. Okay, now let's go in the browser and let's see. And here we go. We get I am working. That means it's perfect. It's perfectly working. Is that, sir, is it compulsory to link JS in body and not in the head section? See, Raj, it's not compulsory, but it's a good practice. Even if you write it down in the head, it's totally fine. It will work, but it's not a good practice because you want your HTML to load first before the JavaScript, right? Because JavaScript performs DOM manipulation. So first you need to load the DOM, then you have to start manipulating it. So it's a good practice to put your scriptings and everything below HTML, not above the HTML. Is that clear, Raj? So it's not compulsory, but it's a good practice. Okay, guys. So now this thing is completely working and we can move on with it. Okay, so now let's go ahead. And the first thing that we're going to learn today is something called as functions, because that is important, because in our project, we're going to use it. Okay, so the first thing that we'll start with today is something called as functions. Then we'll move ahead to DOM manipulation, and then we'll directly move on to the project. So everyone, let's first of all talk about functions. So we have seen variables, conditions, arrays, loops, and now one more very important programming construct, that is functions. So now what exactly is a function? Let's try to understand in a very basic manner. What exactly is a function? A function is nothing but a block of code with a name. Okay, a function is nothing but a block of code with a name. Mostly it has a name. Not every time it's going to have a name, but remember it, a function is nothing but a block of code with some name, mostly 99% of the times, and it doesn't execute like by itself. You have to execute it. You have to call that function if you want to execute that block of code. So what you simply do is, see, you simply create a block of code, okay, and then you write down a name for it. Okay, fine, I'm going to name this block A. Now that code is not going to execute it by itself. You have to call it to use it. So simply create a block of code with a name, and then when you want to use it, you can simply call it. That's what you call as a function. A function is simply a block of code, mostly with a name. Is that clear, everyone? That's what a function is. We have created a lot of blocks, right? There was a if block, there was a while block, there was a do while block. All those were boxes, but they were executing themselves, right? Functions block doesn't execute itself by default. You have to call it to execute it. Okay, So basically it gives you like something like, okay, you can write your code, keep it safe, and whenever you want to use it, you can use it. Or you can also reuse it. You can call the same function 10 times, 20 times, and reuse the same code again and again. That's what functions do. They provide you reusability of code so that you can write the code once and use it whenever you want without writing it again. So let's see how it actually works. Okay, so let's first of all try to create a simple function so that you can understand what I'm saying here. Okay, so to start creating a function, the first thing that you need here is a function keyword. So first you write a function keyword, then give a space, and then write down the name that you want to give to this block of code. So let's say for now I'm simply going to name it do something. Now whenever you create a function, don't forget this rounded brackets. Okay, these are called as parentheses, so don't forget this. Just after the name of your function, just put it there, and then you can create a block. That's it. So this is the name of the function by which you can call it. Like people have name because so that you can call them, right? So functions also have name so that you can call them. So this is the name of the function and this is the block. Now you can write any code here, like whatever you want. So let's say I'm writing some very important code, that is console.log I am function, something like that. Now, remember guys, as I told you, functions don't get called by default. They don't call themselves. This code will not execute. Okay. So if I save it, you'll see in the output, I'm not going to get anything because functions don't execute by default. You have to call them if you want to execute them. That's the specialty about functions. That is the specialty about functions. Every other code that you write normally gets executed. But when you create a function, it doesn't execute by default. You have to call it. And to call it, you're going to use its name. So let's simply go ahead and let's call it. And calling is very simple. Just write down the name with the parentheses and that's it. Done. That's how you call a function. Save it. Let's go in the browser. And here we go. Now I have the output. So basically, think of it like this. Wherever I call this function, this block of code will be executed in that place. That's it. So now if I want, I can also execute it again. So now I'm executing the same function 2 times. That means I'm executing the same block of code 2 times without writing it 2 times. Say for example, here you have 100 lines of code. Okay, here you have 100 lines of code. So in that case, you're simply calling it 2 times. You just write that 100 lines 1 time, and then you can call it twice to work with it twice. You don't have to write that 100 lines again and again. That's the specialty about functions. Is that clear, everyone? So you write your code once and execute them or use them again and again. And that is something that is possible with the help of the function. Are we cleared, everyone? And normally you create this for some particular task. Let's say you create a task for taking username and printing it. You can call it a function. Like you simply divide your functionalities. For example, let's say in my project, there is a functionality of taking username. There is a functionality of moving you to the login page. So I can create different functions as per my convenience. And then I can call it, reuse it depending on the need. That's how you create functions. You simply divide your code into functions. You simply divide your code into functions so that you can read them easily, so that by just reading the name, you can understand what that function is going to do. And so that if you want to reuse some functionality, you can reuse it again and again. So basically, you always divide your code into different functions. You always divide your code into different functions. And when you go to object-oriented programming, you're going to see this. But right now, this is how basically functions work. And in all the languages, there is a concept of functions. In all the languages, there is a concept of functions. Whether you go for Java, C#, C, C++, because everywhere there is a function-oriented programming. You have to create functions. You divide your program, your work into functionalities, small functionalities. Simple. Is this function is same in all program language? No. Creation of function is different. Some people, like here in JavaScript, we use the function keyword. At some places, you don't use the function keyword. You use some kind of different data types, right? But yeah, giving name to it, creating this parenthesis, and giving curly braces is almost same everywhere. Because for creating blocks, curly braces are same everywhere. So Arjun, it's simple. Like almost in all languages, creation of function looks same, almost same, not exact, but yeah, almost same. You can say that. Yes, Rajat, because I'm calling the same function. I want to execute this code 2 times. So I'm calling the same function. You can create different function and call it. Simple. Because see, If I want to call you, I will call Rajat, right? I'll not change your name for the second time if I want to call you. I'll always call you Rajat. Right? So same thing. If I want to call this code, I'll always call this do something because this is the name of that block of that function. Okay? Okay, guys. So now I hope you guys are cleared with the basic of functions. Now we can't go in like very deep in parameters and everything. We have that, but yeah, for that, like you can use it as a Kickstarter, or you can also join our advanced courses, or maybe in some future essentials, I'll teach you that. But right now we don't have a lot of time. We have only 1 hour 45 minutes, right? So let's stick with it. So are we clear with the basic of function, guys? Now you can use it as a starter point to understand functions in a better way by reading it yourself. So everyone, are we clear with the basic concept? I think he meant you use this name in every session. Oh yeah, I always like whenever I create a dummy function, I normally write do something because that is the only name I can think of every time. Is that clear? Okay, Preeti is asking, please try to explain the return keyword. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. Okay. Now, guys, there is also a concept of returning functions. Okay. In that case, what happens is if you want, you can return something out of the function. Like just you guys are asking, so I'm going to tell you. So you also have a concept of returning something from the functions. Okay, that means if you want, you can return some data out of the function. And to do that, you have to use a return keyword. So let's say I can write return 22. Now I'm returning 22 from this function. Now when I write return, what actually happens? So wherever I call this function on the exact same place, this function call is going to return this data 22. That means this thing here I'm calling, it is executing this code, and also in the same place, this 22 value is available because this thing, wherever I call it, it is returning that. So if it is returning, I can do this. If I want, I can store it. So see, now this is my function call. I'm calling it. Okay, it will execute the code, and whatever the function is returning, it will return that. So whatever it is returning, I'm simply storing it in data variable, and now I can use it. So you can think of like this 22 is basically coming in this data variable. So wherever you call this function, at the exact same point, that return data is available. If you want, you can store it. If you want, you can use it. Is that clear? If we are give any name to that function, yes, Arshad, it's totally fine. You can give any name to a function. It's totally up to you. Just don't give spaces in the name, but yes, you can give any name to the function. This do something is just like something that I use. Normally, we give meaningful names. Whatever that function is doing, that kind of name we give to the functions. Here, it was a dummy function, so I simply name it do something. Instead of calling it ABC or FUN, I simply call it do something because it is doing something, right? So everyone, are we clear with this basic return concept? And yes, you can return anything. For example, I can also return a string like this. So now this function is returning a Saurabh, right? So basically, wherever I call it, it will execute this code as well as it will return this Saurabh from here, which I can store it like this. So you can return anything. But remember, a function can only return one thing. Function can never return two things or three things or four things. It will only return one thing. Now that one thing can be anything. It can be an object, it can be array, it can be anything, but only one thing. Is that cleared? Janisha, what is your doubt, buddy? Can you tell me, Janisha, what exactly is your doubt? What is the confusion here? What is the confusion, Janisha? See, okay, I'll do it again. See, simply if you want, you can return data outside the function. You can return something from the function. That means wherever you call this function, okay, it will see first process is wherever you call the function, this code will be executed. That's the first thing. So basically, whenever I execute this function, this code will be executed. But since I have a return keyword in that, which is returning some data, this function call is also returning that thing. So basically, wherever I call this do something, I'm going to get this Saurabh at the same place. And in here also, this thing is also returning that. And it like if I call it 10 times, it's going to return 10 times. Is that clear? It's simple. Now, just to show you, let's do this. Let me print data for you so that you can understand what's happening here. So let's do it. Console.log data. Save it and let's see. What do we get in data? Here we go. See, first I get IAM function, which is nothing but this code execution. Then I'm returning Saurabh, which is returned by this function call. It is going in data, and then I'm also printing data. So here we go. I get Saurabh printed. Simple. Is that cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared now? Janisha, are you cleared? It was your doubt, right? Are we cleared? So I hope now the function return keyword is clear. So simply you can use it to return anything if you want to. Not every time, it's not compulsory. If you want to return something, you can return that thing. Okay, sometimes there is a need of returning something outside the function. So you can go for it. Okay, simple. JP Krishna Kumar, I think yesterday explained, right? What is let? I told you, like, see, you use var, you can also use let. And I think I told the difference between let and var yesterday, right? So if you guys have missed it, please go and watch yesterday's session. I think in the end time, at like when we were ending the session, or when we are ending the loop part, I explained what exactly is the difference between let and var. So you guys can go and rewatch it again so that you can understand what exactly is the difference between let and var. Let is just like var. There are some differences, some advantages of using let. Okay. So now guys, I hope we are cleared with functions. Okay. Now let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Okay. I want to show you one more thing. I want to show you one more thing. Like since this is essentials. Okay. So I want to show you one more things. Okay. A lot of people are asking difference between argument or parameter. Okay. I didn't plan it, but let's do this. Let's complete the functions completely. Let's do this. Let's do this, guys. Okay. I don't want to leave it like this. Let's do it. Okay. Fine. So now we saw how to return something outside the function. So that means from inside the function, we can return something outside. Okay. Now let's say, what if I want to get something from the outside in the function? Reverse of return. What if I want to get something from the outside in the function? What can I do for that? Is there a way of doing that? So yes, there is a way of doing that. What you can do is, see guys, everyone please focus. You can go in this parenthesis in the rounded brackets, and here you can create variables. Here you can create variables like this. For example, let's say I write name. Okay, so I have a name variable here. Now, whenever you create a variable inside the parenthesis, they are called as parameters. They are called as parameters. Now, first of all, let's try to understand what is the use of this variable. Now, this variable can be normally used inside this function. This variable can be normally used inside this function, just like a normal variable. But the cool part about this variable here is the value of this variable, you can get it from wherever we are calling that function. So what we can do is here, from wherever you are calling that function, while calling it inside the parenthesis, you can pass a value for that like this. Or let's, for example, in this case, let's pass some other thing like Thor. So what happens is while calling, you passed Thor here. This Thor will simply go in this name variable and you can simply use it inside this. See, this variable can be used normally inside the function. It's totally fine. But the cool part is for this variable, the value comes from outside, from wherever you're calling that function. Okay, so this thing here is called as a parameter, and the value that you pass for that parameter is considered as an argument. So this thing is called as parameter, and this thing is called as an argument. I hope you understood, Raj, the difference between parameter and argument. Simple. Now, if you want, you can also pass two parameters. You can also create two parameters like name and surname. So now you have to pass two things. Okay, and always follow the sequence like this. For example, let's say I do like this. So in this case, the first argument will go in the first parameter. The second argument will go in the second parameter. Always remember it. And you can use these two variables or parameters inside the function just like normal variables. It's totally fine. But you cannot use them outside because these are function variables. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Akshay is asking what is anonymous function. I'll just give you a definition because right now we don't need it. So I'll just give you the definition. Anonymous function is a function that doesn't have any name. In this case, it's not an anonymous function. It's having a name. Is that clear? Divya is asking whether the parameter name and argument name should be the same. No. Parameter name is just your variable and this is the value. Can you see any common thing here? Can you see like, are we putting anything same? No. This is the parameter name. And okay, fine. If I think you're talking about if you pass arguments as variable. No, nothing like that. No, you can have different names. It's just about values. Is that clear, Divya? It's just about values. Okay. So whatever you pass, you can like give any name to your parameters. And if you're using variables as arguments, you can give any name to them. It's just about values. Names, whatever name you give them, doesn't matter. Okay, so now guys, I hope now this is like all about functions. Okay, this is like all about functions now you know how to create functions, now you know how to return something, and now you also know how to use parameters. So I think that much is enough now, and now we can move ahead. Okay, Biswajit, let's see if we get time at the end. I'll show you, I'll basically show you how to use arrow functions, don't worry. But for now we have to stop. Okay, okay guys, now let's move ahead. Don't worry, at the end if we get time, I will explain to you how exactly you create arrow functions, because arrow functions are nothing. They are just like syntactical sugars. They are just like a new way of creating functions. That's it. Everything is almost same. Function creation is almost same. How to pass numbers into function? Simple, right? You if instead of string, just pass a number. Now this number will go in this variable. It's just like assigning value to variables. This is the variable, this is the value. This is the variable, this is the value. Simple. So if you want, you can pass numbers. If you want, you can pass any kind of data. Is that clear? Yes, Divya, that is important. The number of parameters you have here, the number of arguments should be same until and unless you create a default parameter. But that is something we are not talking about right now. Okay, fine guys, let's move ahead. So is not want to put name let. Okay, Sarma, I understood it out. You don't have to put let here. No need of that. When you create parameter variables, no need to put let or var. Is that clear? Okay guys, so now I think we understood all about functions. Now let's move ahead to something called as DOM manipulation. Okay, now we already know what exactly is DOM, right? We already know what exactly is DOM, the tree structure of your HTML document. But now we want to see how to use JavaScript to manipulate the DOM. And when I say manipulate the DOM, that means manipulate the HTML elements. That means how, if we want, we can remove HTML elements. If we want, we can add HTML elements using JavaScript. If we want, we can change the content or remove the content, right? Or we can add content. Or we can also change CSS, add CSS, remove CSS. We can change the attribute values. We can do anything on those HTML elements. That is what we call as DOM manipulation. And we can use JavaScript to do that. Is that clear, everyone? So JavaScript can help you to perform DOM manipulation. That means it can manipulate HTML elements. It can add HTML elements. It can remove HTML elements. It can change the CSS of the HTML elements. It can change the content of the elements. It can change the attribute values of the elements. You can literally do anything on the elements. And that is what we're going to learn next. Is that clear, everyone? So are we understanding what exactly is DOM manipulation? We know what is DOM, right? The tree of your HTML document, the tree structure of your HTML document, where each and every element is considered as an object. Okay? Okay, guys. Now let's move ahead. Okay, everyone? You are not talking. Pankaj, what is your doubt, buddy? Can you tell me? I think we have covered all about functions, right? What else do we have in functions? Can you tell me that? If you think like that, what else do we have in functions? There is just like anonymous function. That is like functions don't have name, right? And we are not going to cover in like that thing in here. Pankaj, now we have covered almost everything about functions, buddy. Pankaj, if you know about functions, I hope you understand. Now we have covered everything. Now you know how to return something. Now you know how to create parameters and pass arguments. So like it's almost everything, right? This is how you create the basic functions. This is how functions are created everywhere. Okay, now guys, let's move ahead. Okay. Now, before DOM manipulation, I want to show you something. I want to teach you something. Okay. So I'll just keep this commented so that when I share this file, you have a reference of how to create functions. Okay. So I'll just keep it here. And I'm going to create a new function. Okay. I am going to create a new function. So let's create a function. So how we can change color using function? Don't worry, Smith. We're going to do that. So let's do like function, and let's call it anything. Like now let's call it demo, because now we are out of names for dummy functions. So let's call it demo. Okay. And let's say console.log hello, something like that. Now we know we have to call this function if we want to use it. But now, before moving on to the DOM manipulation, I want to teach you something else. Okay. Now let's say, everyone please focus now. Let's say I have a button. Okay, so before moving on to DOM manipulation, I'm teaching you something else. I'm teaching you a concept of event handling. Okay, so please focus, guys. So let's say click me, something like that. Now in JavaScript, we have a function called demo, which is simply printing hello. Okay, we are not calling it right now. And in HTML, we have a button which is saying click me. Okay, now let's go ahead and refresh the page. Okay, guys, now you can see we have a button. Okay, now what I want here is when I click on this button, then I want to call this function. When I click on this button, then I want to call this function. I don't want to call this function normally. I want to call this function when I click on that button. How can I do that? This is one of the very important aspects, because see, when you go on a website, you click on a lot of things and a lot of thing happens. So this is how they happen. Now we're going to learn that how when you click on a button, something happens. How is that thing like working in the backend? That's what we're going to see now. So we're going to call this simple function on click of this button, and that's very easy. What you can do is, see, you can simply come here. Now, this is the most basic way. There are other ways as well, but this is the most basic way. So what you can do is, you can simply come here. There's an attribute in button which is called as on click. Is that clear? Which is called as on click. And then inside this, if your JavaScript page is perfectly linked, properly linked, you can call that function. So you can simply go ahead, take this exact same name, put it, and that's it with the parenthesis. Don't forget the parenthesis. And that's it. Done. On click demo. That means now we are mentioning that, okay, fine. On the click of this button, I want to call this demo function. So this on click basically says that. So here we are performing something called as event handling. The things that you perform on the web page are called as events. The click, the double click, the mouse movement, everything that you do on a web page is considered as an event. Okay, and now we are performing something called as event handling. That means you're performing an event, and based on that, something is happening. This whole concept is considered as event handling. Is that clear? What is an event? It's simple. Event is whatever you perform on a web page. The click, the double click, okay, the mouse move, anything that you perform on a web page, on the application, is considered as an event. Okay, so the on click, when you click on the button, that is also an event. So basically now I have handled that event. What I did, when you click on the button, I want to call this function. So this function will be called. That means something will happen behind the scenes. Okay, so this is called as event handling, where the click that you're performing is considered as an event. Okay, so there are three basic components in event handling. So please everyone focus. The thing that you're performing, the click, that is event. Whatever you're doing, that is an event. Now on whatever element you do that, that element is considered as an event handler. So I'm performing a click event because I'll click it, right? So that's the event. I'm performing it on the button. So my button is an event handler because it is handling that. And the thing that gets called when you perform that event is considered as an event listener, because when you perform that event, this thing got executed. This thing listens it, right? So that's why it is called as event listener. As soon as you perform that event, this thing will be called. Is that clear, everyone? So simple, basic logic. Whatever you call is an event listener. Wherever you perform the event is an event handler, and whatever you perform, it's basically the event. Simple. Document.query selector button and event listener button on click. Is this same, sir? Yes, that's another way of doing it. Yes, Shri Prasanna. That is one more way of doing it. Is that clear? But we can't directly go there, because first we have to cover the basics, right? This is how you basically do it. That's one more way. But for that, first of all, you have to understand the basic DOM manipulation methods. Is that clear, Shri Prasanna? So that's same, but you can't go that directly. First, you have to understand this. Okay, guys. So now let's see if it is actually working. So save both the pages and let's go and let's see. Refresh. Let's press click me, and here we go. We get hello. If I click it again, I get it 2 times. That means when I click it, it's simply calling it again and again. Here we go. See, I clicked it 23 times, 24 times, and it's calling the same function again and again, again and again. So that's how you call function based on clicks, based on some events. Now it can be a click event, it can be a mouse moving event, it can be a mouse up event, mouse down event, key event, it can be anything. But in this case, for today, we're only considering understanding click events, just to keep it like basic. Okay, everyone. So are we cleared with how to call functions? Guys, now we can comment out this button, and we can also comment out this function, but I'll keep it so that when I share this file to you, you can have it. Okay, that hello is not visible in the web page. Yes, Arjun, because I did console.log, right? You're printing it in the console, right, Arjun? Here you go, see? Don't worry, we are going step by step. Till now, we didn't know how to click on buttons and perform events. Now we know that. So we are simply coming to the web. Then what is the use of it? Okay, it's like ABC. We don't directly speak words, right? First, we understand the ABC. So there is no use of ABC if we think like that. But to create words, to create sentences, we first have to learn ABC. So right now we are on the ABC. We are simply like looking at how you can call events based on buttons. So now after this, we're going to see that. So don't worry, you'll also see the use. Is that cleared? Yes, the audio will also work on that. You can do a lot of things. Okay, guys. So now let's move ahead and let's talk about DOM manipulation. Okay, so as I told you, DOM manipulation is nothing but manipulating elements using JavaScript. So now, what can we do for it? How to do it? So now, guys, there are a few steps that go in when you want to perform DOM manipulation. There are a few steps that go in when you want to perform DOM manipulation. So the first and the most important step when you want to manipulate an element is first you should know how to select the element. The first thing that you should know is how to select the element so that you can perform operations on that element, so that you can change the content of that element, so that you can change the CSS of that element, or you can change the attribute of that element. So the first thing you have to do is you should know how to select the element. So for example, let's say, okay, let's not create a div, let's create a simple element. Let's create a h1. Okay, let's create a h1 and let's simply put let's upgrade in that. Okay, so let's see if we have it here. Perfect. We have let's upgrade here. That's amazing. That's great. Now, I want to manipulate this element. I want to manipulate this element. So the first thing you should know is how to select this element. That is the first important thing you should know. Now, there are three ways of selecting elements. You can basically select an element using class name, because I really hope that you have guys have attended my HTML and CSS sessions as well that were just before this JavaScript Essentials. There I told you, right? You have IDs that you can give to element, you have classes that you can give to elements, right? So basically, to select an element using JavaScript, either you can go for the tag name, you can select element using the tag name, you can select the element using class name, or again you can select the element using IDs. So for today, we are going to talk only about IDs so that we can save time and move on to the project. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's give it ID. But see, guys, the concept is almost similar. If you understand how to do it with IDs, you can understand how to do it with class names or tag names. So for today, we're only going to work with IDs. Okay, so let's give any ID. Let's give it an ID of 1. Okay, now I want to fetch this element. I want to select this element using the ID so that I can manipulate it, because the first step in manipulation is to select the element. So how to do that? So let's do it. Let's try to select this element in JavaScript with the help of its ID. Let's do it. So now for that, you have to again use one inbuilt object. Just like we used console, it was an inbuilt object. We directly used it. So there is one more inbuilt object that helps you to work with elements. Now remember, guys, when your DOM tree is created, right? I told you right in the start, when you when you write down your HTML code and when you execute that HTML code in the browser, internally a tree gets created, a DOM tree, right? So on the top of like basically on the top of that DOM tree sits an object called as document. So all of your elements of the tree come inside that document object. So that is the object that we have to use. That is the inbuilt object that you have to use if you want to select an element and work on it, because that is the top level object in your tree. So for your tree, document is the top level object. All of your HTML tree comes in that object. Okay. So this is the object that, okay, I'm so sorry. This is the object that you have to use, document. Because inside this object, you have your whole tree. So basically, we're going to use this object if you want to work on that tree, if you want to work on any element from that tree, right? We know that because this h1 element is also the part of the tree, because this HTML code gets converted to a tree. So this h1 element is also the part of the tree. So to work with this, we need this document object. Okay. Now, sir, can we create a function using fat arrow? Yes, buddy. Why not? That is something that we call as arrow functions. Simple. Yes, Smith, you can do that. So now, guys, let's move ahead. So first you write document, then dot. Now, as I told you that there are many ways by which you can select element by using their class name, by using their tag name, by using their IDs. And here we are focusing on IDs. So there is a function of document object that is known as get element by ID. There's a function that is known as get element by ID. And this is what we can use to get an element by ID. You can see the function is itself is saying get element by ID. So now what you have to do is put a parenthesis and just pass the ID of the element that you want to select. So in this case, the ID was 1, and that's it. Document. So from the document, get an element by its ID, and the ID is 1. So this particular line will simply go in my tree and will select this H1 element and take it for me. So now by that line of code, I should be able to get this element, select this element. Let's see if it is actually happening. So let's do one thing. Let's print this thing. Let's console.log it so that we can see if we're actually able to get the element or not. So let's console.log this whole thing so that we can see if we're actually able to get the element or not. So now let's go on the console and let's say refresh. And here we go. See, we get the whole element. We simply get the whole element, right? So we have got the element, and that's how you do it. So now at least we are able to get the H1 element. Now we want to manipulate it. And guys, see, this is the exact same element. If I hover on this, that elements get highlighted. So this is the exact same element. Is that cleared? Okay. Shri Prasanna is asking a good question. Why not hash one? Okay. Because see, first of all, you use hash to tell your JavaScript or CSS that, okay, fine, this is the ID. But here, your function name itself says, I'm going to fetch element by ID. So no need to mention hash because JavaScript understands that whatever you put in here is going to be ID. Is that clear? Because your function name is document.getElement by ID. So you don't have to specify that I'm putting ID. Is that clear? Shri Prasanna, your name itself is saying that you're going to specify ID. Okay. So now guys, you can see we have selected the element, and when I hover on that, this element gets highlighted. That means it's the correct element. Now, let's not log it, remove it, because now we have to learn after selecting this how to work on that element. Now let's say, everyone please focus. Now let's say the first thing that I want to learn here is how to work with the content. Now guys, remember content is something that is in between the tags. Okay, so this is the content of the tag. Everyone please focus. This is the content of the tag. If we use query selector all, then we will have to specify hash. Yes, Shivam. Yeah, in that case, you have to specify. Is that clear? But here we are simply mentioning get element by ID. Okay, guys. So now, first of all, try to understand what is content. Content is anything, whatever is between the tags. Okay. So this let's upgrade text is the content of this H1. And the thing that we're learning here is how to get the content of an element. If I want to see it, how to get it, how to get the content of an element. Okay. So what if I want to get this textual content of this H1 tag just to see in JavaScript what it is, how to do that. So let's see everyone. Okay. And again, let me just start console.log so that we can see what we are doing here. Okay. So now what you can do is once you fetch the element, you simply put dot the document.getElement by ID 1 dot. Now, if you want to get the content, if you want to get the textual content in between that tag, you simply have a property named inner text, and that is it. Done. So I'm simply saying, okay, fine. From the document, get an element by ID whose ID is 1. So this thing will give me the element, and then dot give me its inner text. So give me the text, whatever is inside there, and that's it. Save it, and now we should be able to get the text that is inside there, H1. And here we go. See, we got the text that was inside the H1. That is let's upgrade. So the property is what? Inner text. Is that clear, everyone? So first get the element. Once you've got the element, then dot inner text to get the textual element that is there inside the element. Are we clear, Joju? Don't worry, buddy. We're going to move to that. Let's go step by step, right, Joju? So don't worry. We are also going to go there. Okay. So now this is the way how you can get the textual content of any element. But what if I don't want to get it? I want to change it. What if I simply don't want to get it? I want to change that content. Okay, so for now, let's remove console.log because we don't want to print it. Okay, now guys, see this thing. If you write it like this, you're simply getting the text. Now, what if I want to change the textual content? I don't want to get it. I want to change it. So that is again simple. Just write the exact same thing, and now just put equal to some other thing, and that's it. So just write hello. So when you use inner text normally, you're getting the content. But when you simply say equals to something else, it's simply going to change it. So inner text is working for both. If you want to get the text, you can use inner text. If you want to change the text, you can still use inner text. It only depends on which side of the equal to you're using it. If you're like assigning something to it, like equal to hello, like, okay, fine. From the document, get an element by ID whose ID is 1 dot inner text that will give you the text. If you simply say equal to hello, now I'm changing the text. Okay, so if I save it, let's see now. Let's see the page. Refresh it. See, in my code, in my code, in my H1, I have let's upgrade. As soon as the JavaScript page will run, it should change it. It should change it to hello. Let's go. Refresh the page and see. Here we go. It's hello. We can't see let's upgrade because see, when I refresh it very fast, you can see sometimes we can see let's upgrade because let's upgrade is there. But as soon as the page loads, JavaScript starts working and it changes let's upgrade to hello because that code is executing by default. When the page loads, this code executes. So as soon as the page loads, let's upgrade gets replaced with hello. Is that clear, everyone? Yes, you can say that. Smith Chauhan, yes. Document is basically your DOM tree's top level object. Your DOM tree's top level object is document. So all of your DOM tree is stored inside this document object. Is that cleared? So you can say that, yeah, document is nothing but containing your whole HTML file, your whole HTML collection. Guys, are we cleared with this? So if you want to get the text, simply write down this. If you want to change it, just put equals to something else, and that's it. It will start working. So inner text is working like both. It is helping you to get it. It is helping you to set it. Okay, everyone. I hope now you have understood it. Okay. Now. Let's do one thing. Let's do one more thing. Okay. So let's go in our HTML. Okay. Everyone, please focus. Now, let's create a div here. Guys, please focus now. Let's create a div. Let's give it a class of, let's not give class because we are only working with IDs. We don't want to like make this lecture very long. So let's give it an ID. So let's give it an ID of 2, something like 2. Fine. Let's apply some CSS to it. And for CSS, I'm going to use class. Let's also give it a class of 2. Now, in this case, I'm going to write internal CSS. So style, okay, dot 2. I really hope that you guys already know what is styling because if you have attended the HTML and CSS session, you will know how to write CSS. So I'm really hoping that you know CSS. Okay, so 2, let's give it a height of 200 pixels. Let's give it a width of 200 pixels. Okay. And let's give it a background color of red. Okay. Now let's save it and let's see if we have that div. Here we go. We have that element. Perfectly fine. Amazing. Now, guys, please focus. Okay, everyone, please focus. Now, let's say now there is no content inside this div. Okay, there is no content inside this div. That's perfect. That's perfectly fine. There is no content inside this div. I want to put some content inside this div by using JavaScript. I want to put some content inside this div by using JavaScript. For fetching the content of class, is it document.getElement by class? Yes, it is document.getElements by class name. Is that clear, Primus? Okay. So everyone, now you guys tell me, to fetch this element with the ID of 2, what do I have to write? Everyone, you guys tell me, come on. To fetch this element that is having an ID of 2, what line of code do I have to write? You guys tell me in the chat, everyone. Come on, let's do a simple test. What do I have to do here? Guys, everyone, please tell me, what do I have to do here? So H1 class 1 for CSS and H1 ID1, we both for same time. Yes, you can do that because one is class name, one is ID. It's totally fine. They can be same. It's totally fine. Come on, guys. I want to fetch this element with the help of the ID. Vipul, please hear the question properly. I said, I want to fetch this element with the help of the ID, not the class. Yes, it's going to be document.getElement by ID too. You guys are amazing. That's perfect. So let's do it. Let's comment this out. Let's do it. Document.getElement by ID. and I want to put some textual content in there. Okay, so I'm simply going to do dot inner text equals to hello everyone. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Save it. Let's go. And here we go. Now you can see here we have hello everyone. That's perfect. That's what we wanted. But now, so now we know how inner text works. Inner text will simply help you to work with the textual content. But now, what I want here is I simply don't want to pass a simple text. I don't want to pass a very simple text. What I want to do is I also want to pass some HTML elements with my text. Okay, so you can do this, guys. See, you can also do this. If you want, you can pass a HTML element with the text like this. Now I'm not passing a simple text. Please, guys, everyone, a lot of people are asking about inner HTML. Don't worry, guys. I have planned everything for you. Don't worry. Let's just go step by step, right, everyone? I always tell this in all the lectures, all the essentials. Let's go step by step. Okay. So now, guys, I also want to pass some HTML element with my normal text. Okay, let's see if this works. Let's see if my inner text can actually put this exact same thing in my red element, in my red div. Let's see. Let's go there, refresh, and here we go. Yeah, it's successful. It is putting that thing in your red div. But you can see the problem that H1 is not getting treated as H1. It is simply getting treated as a normal text. So when you use inner text, even if you pass a HTML element, it is still considered as a text. So what in that case then? What if I want to pass some HTML content, not only a textual content? So for that, guys, you have something called as inner HTML. Inner text is only for text. It will only fetch textual content. It will only set textual content. Inner HTML will help you to fetch HTML content as well as textual content, and also set the textual content as well as HTML content. So now if you see, if I save it and refresh it now, here we go. See, now H1 gets treated as H1. H1 gets treated as H1 now. And the text is there. That's perfectly fine. So normally we're going to use inner HTML if we want to pass elements as well as text. Is that clear, everyone? So that's how you use inner text and inner HTML. So inner text only for text, and inner HTML for text and HTML both. Please don't send promotion messages. Okay. Okay, guys. Everyone, are we clear with this? Okay, guys, are we cleared? Everyone, please tell me. Because in future, in the project, when we create the to-do list, we are going to use this. That's what I'm telling you. Are we cleared with this, guys? Okay, amazing. Now, as you can see, when I refresh the page, this hello everyone comes here. Because currently, this code is getting executed directly. This code is getting executed directly. Now, you guys tell me, from whatever we have learned, what if I don't want to execute this code directly? I want to call it whenever I need it. What can I do? Everyone, what can we do? Can you please start over? Jake, from where? If you're like telling me to start over from the whole lecture, then that's like almost impossible, buddy, because we have almost completed 1 hour here. Guys, what can we do? Yes, we can create a function, because we know that a function doesn't execute by default. You have to call it, right? So that's what we can do. So let's do it. Let's call it a function. Let's create a function, and let's give it a good name. So let's give it like put text. So I'm going to give it a name of put text. Okay, so here we have the function, and now I'll put this line of code inside that function. That means now this code will not execute by default. See, now if I refresh it, there's nothing in my div because that function is not getting called. So let's call it. And to call it, you can create anything. You can also call that function on this div only. But let's create a button so that it's easier for us to understand now. So button, let's write get text on it. And on click, function name is what? Put text, right? So here we go. Put text. Let's see. Yep, it's put text. Correct. Okay, save both the files. Now let's see if it is working. So here we have the button. Now when I click on this button, the text should be coming here. So let's do it. Get text, and here we go. See, as soon as I hit the button, here we go. So Arjun, this was your doubt, right, buddy? How to do it in HTML, because we were doing it in the console. I hope now you understood it. If you're there, Arjun. Okay, so this is how you simply do it. Okay, so now we know how to put some HTML content on some other HTML element with some functions. So now we are like going towards the project. We are leading towards the project. How we remove it again? It's simple. We can simply replace the content. We can simply remove the content. That's one way of doing it. There are multiple ways. Okay, everyone. No need to use script. Yeah, no need to use script. You're not passing. See, we pass script when we are transferring it to some other page. Right now, we are simply creating elements. There is no need to use scripts or something like that. So in function, can we call any name? Yes, you can give any name, Bhagashri. If that is your doubt, you can give any name to the function. It's totally fine. Okay, guys. So I hope we are cleared with this, everyone. I really, really hope we are clear with this. Guys, please tell me. Okay. Now, next on, nothing much, buddy. Now, like, we are just at function. We are just creating functions and putting some content in the HTML. That's it. Okay. So you simply missed, like, we just did a function thing. We learned how to create function and call it, and now we are simply started like DOM manipulation. So you can rewatch it again. It's totally fine. Okay, everyone, can we move ahead now, guys? Please tell me, can we pass a span tag in HTML and style it in CSS? Why not, buddy? Why not, Manas? Yes, obviously you can do that. We're gonna do it. Don't worry. Just wait. In the project, you're gonna understand a lot of things. Okay, guys. So now let's move ahead. Now let's see how to read a user value. This was the doubt that you were asking a lot of times yesterday, right? So let's see how to read user value from input field. Okay, so let's do it. So for that, we need to create an input field first, right? So let's create an input field. Now again, I need you guys to remember your HTML sessions, right? I really hope that you guys remember your HTML sessions, every one of you. Okay, so let's get an input tag. Let's give it a type of text. Let's give it a placeholder of name. Okay, everyone please focus now. Okay, perfect. Let's see if we have it. Here we go, we have it. And also, I want it below the button. So for now, let me simply use a BR. Okay, fine, perfect. So I have this element here. And now, let's also create a button. Get name, something like that. Okay, perfect. So now we have an input field, guys, and we have a button. Okay, now everyone please focus. What I want to do, I want to show you how to read the value of this input field. How to read the value of this input field. So everyone please focus now. Okay, so first of all, to read the value of input field, again, you're performing some kind of DOM manipulation. So the first thing you need is you should understand, or you should know how to select this element, because you want this element's value, right? You want the value of this element. You want the content of whatever user writes in this input element. So first thing is you should know how to read this field, like how to select this input field. So let's again give it ID. So let's give it an ID of INP. Now you guys tell me, what line of code do I have to write to select this element? Everyone, come on, tell me. What line of code do I have to write to select this element? Come on, everyone, guys, tell me. Everyone. Guys, come on. Fire up the chat. Come on, tell me. What line of code do I have to write to get this element, to select this element? Everyone in the chat. Are the chats delayed now? Everyone, come on, tell me. Real quick. Till the time I'll create the function. Are the chats delayed or stuck? I can't see the charts now. Guys, everyone. Let's create a function called get name. Okay. Yes. Document.get element by ID INP. Yes. So we have to use this INP. So let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. Now I can see the chats. Okay. Perfect. So what I have to do is I have to write document dot get element by ID INP. So now this thing here is simply going to give me the element. This thing here is simply going to give me this element. But right now I'm not interested in the element. I'm interested in the element's value. Okay, so I'm interested in the data that the user will write here. So we know from the HTML that whatever we write here goes in the value attribute, right? We know from the HTML that whatever we write here goes in the value attribute. I really hope that you guys remember it. Whatever we write here, it goes in the value attribute, right? So it's simple. Again, it's really, really, really simple. What you can do is you can use any attribute of any element by using JavaScript. So first you select the element, then simply write dot, and then any attribute that you want to use. So in this case, we want to use what? The value attribute, because the text, the data that you write inside the input field goes in the value attribute. But here, if it was an image element, you can work with src, you can work with height, width. Okay, here we can also work with placeholder. Guys, remember this value, I have seen a lot of people that think that this value is some JavaScript variable that we are using here. No, it's the value attribute. Is the value attribute of the input element. Is that clear, everyone? It is the value attribute of the input element. So remember, guys, whatever you fill in the input field goes in the value attribute, and we are simply fetching the value attribute's value. Simple. So now, whatever we are getting, let's store it in some variable for clarity. Let's store it in some variable. Let data equals to this. Whatever we are fetching, let's store it in data. And now let's print that data. So console.log the data. So first we fetch the element. Then I say, okay, get me the value of the value attribute. And value attribute simply stores the data that you write in the text box. So first get the element by ID, then access its value attributes and get the value. So whatever we get, we simply store it in the data variable, and then I'm printing it. Now let's call this function on this button actually, so that it's easy. Value which we write is dot value. Yes, Riprasanna. Yes, buddy. See, what I'm telling you is, that's why I'm like, that's why I want all of you guys to understand this. So whatever value we're writing here is actually this one, this value attribute of this input tag. Is that clear, Sri Prasanna? We are simply accessing this attribute. We can also access ID, we can also access placeholder, we can also access type. We can access any of the attribute. But right now we are interested in the value attribute, because that is the attribute that stores the data that you write in the input field. Okay. So now let's call that function on this button. Wait, everyone, you'll understand. Wait. So what is the function name? It's get name. So let's copy this name and let's print it here. Save it. Save it. So now when I click on this button, it will call get name. What is get name doing? Get name will simply select or get the value of the text field, store it in data variable, and then we are also printing the data. So let's see if it is happening. Let's write something. Let's write Iron Man. Okay, let's write Iron Man. And now, as soon as I click this button, right, that function will get the data from here and it will simply print it on the console. Let's see if it is happening. Here we go. Perfect. Write anything. Let's say JJJJ, something like that. I don't know what that means, but let's write it. Here we go. Is that clear, everyone? And now I also want to tell you, like, see, this is the attribute. Okay, so you can also use the placeholder attribute like this. Now, so once you select the element, you can access any of its attributes. So now I'm accessing the placeholder attribute. Let's see if it is actually working. Here we go. We get name, because what is the value of placeholder attribute? Name. You can also get the type attribute. Let's go. Let's see. I can also access the type attribute. Let's go and see. Okay, that's why I was waiting for this point, because I want you guys to understand that that value is not some JavaScript construct. It's just the name of the attribute that you want to access. A lot of people get confused because whatever we write here, we call that value, and we're also calling that value property. So you don't have to get confused. We are simply accessing the attribute, and whatever you write in the input fields gets stored in the value attribute, and we are simply accessing that value attribute. Is that clear? What if the name is blank? What will be the value? Blank. Simple, right, Shivam? If the name is blank, the value will be blank, right? Simply, let's try actually. Let's try it. Let's try just for your doubt. Save it, and here we go. Now see, we don't put anything. So there's a blank value. If I do it, see, something is printed, but that's nothing. It's simply blank. Is that clear? Now see that blank is printed 2 times, 3 times. So blank. Okay, I hope it is clear. And for this purposes, you apply validations. Like this should not be blank, but that's again a new thing that we'll do in some other sessions. Don't worry about it. What if we enter some space in it? Yeah, space is also a value. So now space is a value. See, now you can select some places here because this is how much spaces I entered here. Is that clear, Manas? See, I can select this much area here because this is how much spaces I entered here. So space is also considered as a value. Is that clear, everyone? Because see, if I put Saurabh Gupta, so now there is a space in between. There we go. We still get space here. That means, yeah, that's how spaces work. Okay. So everyone, are we cleared? Sarma, we are avoiding how to access elements using classes now because we don't have like that much time. If I like go for classes and tag names, then we'll be unable to create the project. That's why I'm doing this. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, please let me know the difference between alert and console. Does the empty value differs? See, when you use console, it simply prints on the console. When you use alert, there's a simple dialog box or pop-up box that comes there. But yeah, if you put blank value, both of them will display blank value. There's no difference in there. Is that cleared? Alert is simply a way of showing pop-up messages in the browser that are inbuilt in the browser. Okay, Divya? So when you use console, we are basically dealing with this. When you use alert, you're simply dealing with the pop-up box that will appear here. Is that clear, Divya? So they are totally different. They are totally different. These are just two different ways of displaying message. Alert is basically used for users' perspective. Console is for us. Console is for developers. Because normal users don't go in the console and see what is going on there. It's for developers, right? But alert is basically for users to show some message to the users. Please pull DOM cluster. Yes, Shiv Prasanna. Like not today, but yeah, in future maybe we are going to have a complete DOM manipulation essentials. Is that clear? Let me talk to the team. I'll actually try to plan a complete DOM manipulation essentials. Instead of a JS essentials, I'll plan a complete DOM manipulation essentials where we can only learn DOM manipulations. But for that, you have to be ready with the basics of JavaScript because in there, we're not going to do basics of JavaScript. Venkat is asking use cases of console.log in web dev for printing something, for printing your calculations, for debugging, for checking your variable data. These are all the use cases for checking your elements. These are all the use cases of console.log. Okay. What is alert? Okay. Since you're asking, I'll tell you. So see, alert is nothing but a way of displaying dialog box message like this. See, if I simply go alert, so it's a function. Okay. And I can simply say hello. See, now this function will be called on page load because it's outside the functions. So it will be directly called. Okay. I'm not getting into alert, prompt, and confirm. I'm just showing you alert just because you want to know this, right? Just giving you a hint. Here we go. See now. Refresh. See, this is alert. Is that cleared? Shivam, this is what you call as alert. So you can see the message hello here. So that's it. This is the alert. Right now, we are not using it, but I hope you have seen this in some other websites. So that's how you create it. You simply use alert. Alert function is inbuilt. Yes, Manas, because see, we simply call that function. We have not created the alert function, right? See, this is how you create functions. So now this is, we are creating and calling. Now this function, we are directly calling. We are not creating it. We have not created it. We have not defined how it should work. We are simply using it. So it's an inbuilt function, right? Whatever we don't create, we directly use. It's basically inbuilt. Arshad, don't worry, buddy. Just be on the LetsUpgrade.in site, register there. All the notifications will come to you. Value was undefined or object when something works or shows the value with console.log. Yes, because alert is basically for text. It's not for HTML elements. Divya, alert is basically made to display textual messages, not elements, not objects. Console is a place where you can print anything and everything. That's why we are using console.log instead of alert, right, Divya? Because console is something that is used for debugging. So that place is made for that purpose, so that you can print elements, you can print data, and you can see it. Alert is not made for testing purposes. Alert is simply made for some message purpose. That's why it only displays textual message. We never use alert for all these things, right? That's why we used console.log to see our elements, to see our data, to see our loop values or how our variables are performing, we use console.log for it. Console.log is made for testing. Alert is simply for displaying textual messages. It's for users, not for developers. Okay, guys, so now let's move ahead. Okay, now everyone please focus. Everyone please focus. Now I have a doubt here that I want to ask you guys. Now we know how to put content on the div, and now we also know how to extract a value from a text field. Now you guys tell me, what if, let me comment this function out now, we don't need it. What if I want to put this data on this red element? I want to put this data on this red element. What can we do? Do we have the code already available, guys? Everyone tell me, you guys tell me. I want to put this data text on this red element. What can I do for it? You have the code in front of you. Tell me, guys, come on. We know how to put hello everyone there. So we should surely know how to put this data value on that red element. Come on, guys, tell me. Can we use the exact same code, guys? Can we use the exact same code? Yes, right? Let's use the exact same code. But we are not passing hello everyone. We are passing data. We are passing what? Data. Simple. Equals to data. And that's it. Done. Save it. And here we go. Okay, let's see. So simply say, first thing is we read the input box, we read the value, put it in data. Then we simply say, okay, fine. Get the red element, that is ID2, and then it's inside its inner HTML, put this data. And that's it. That should be it. Let's see. Let's write something like Saurabh. And now let's click. And here we go. See, we have Saurabh. So now we know how to read the input field and how to put that data onto an element. Is that clear? Now, if you want, you can also pass h1. But now it's a variable. And you write h1 as a string. So guys, do we know how to concat string and variable? Because now data is a variable that is holding some text, but that's the secondary part. The first part is that it's a variable, and our h1 is gonna be inside a string. So do we know how to concatenate variable and string? Guys, please tell me. Do we know how to do it? Everyone, do we know how to concatenate variable and string? Yes, exactly. Right? We have two ways. Either we can go for the plus, or the better way is what? The better way is used to templating. Like this, backticks, put h1, slash h1, and inside that I want to mention a variable. So for that we use dollar curly braces, and we can simply say data, and that's it, done. So now we are putting this complete string there. In between we also have a variable. So either you can go for the plus thing for concatenation, or you can go for this thing. And I really hope that now you're understanding whatever we learned in last 2 days, how it is helping us now, right? That's how we go level by level. Okay, so now let's save it and let's see if we are able to put that h1 there. Let's go. Let's write Saurabh again. Here we go. Let's put something else like hello. Here we go. The thing is that Saurabh gets replaced. So whatever is in that element will be get replaced. So whenever you use inner HTML or inner text, and if you're putting some content by using that, the old thing will always get replaced. Remember that the old thing will always get replaced with the new one. So if you're ever using inner text or inner HTML to put something, remember that the old thing will be always replaced with the new thing. It clears the old content and puts the new content. Is that clear, everyone? It clears the old content and puts the new content. We can write only one element. No, Manish, not at all. You can write the whole HTML thing here if you want. Let's put it in another line. If you want, let's like make it look good. Yep. Now here you can write a big HTML code. It's totally up to you. Is that clear? So now I put it in the next line and I put some spaces so that you can see it properly. Now this is the string, opening, closing, and in between this you can write simply anything. Big HTML, anything. It's totally fine. Okay, everyone? I hope we are clear. But remember, guys, whenever you use inner HTML or inner text, the old thing always gets replaced. Okay, so now the next thing that we want to learn here is, what if I want the old thing to be there? What if I want the old thing to be there? What can I do for it? Okay. So what do we have to do for it? So let's see. Everyone, do you want to see, guys? Is it possible to change the H1 color? Yes. Why not? Why not? Why not? You just go in CSS and just write H1 color white. So whatever H1 is on your web page, it will be colored white. Why not? See? Now this H1 is colored white. Don't worry. But now let's see this one. Let's put Saurabh. Here we go. So you can change it. Why not? But now, guys, now this was not important at all, right? This was simple. Whatever H1 you're putting on the web page, this is how you change the color of H1s. Okay. So now, everyone please focus. Now, as I told you that inner HTML and inner text will always replace the old content. So we don't want to replace it. We want to basically add to it. Yes, we want to append it. Yes. So exactly. So now let's see how to append it. Everyone please focus on how to append it. Now for this, first of all, do we remember this, guys? A equals to A plus B. Do we remember this, everyone? Let's say A equals to A plus 2. Do we remember this? A equals to A plus 3. A equals to A plus 6. Do we remember this? Now, can anyone tell me, and in the start also, let me just do this. I'm going to test you now. Tell me, what is the value of A at the end? What is the value of A at the end? Come on, guys, tell me. What is the value of A at the end? In the last, what is the value of A if I print A? 11? Yes, because 11, right? 6, 3, 9, 2, 11. Yeah, exactly. Why? See, first A is 0. Perfect. Then I say A equals to A, that is 0 plus 2. So 0 plus 2, 2. And I again put it back in A. Then again do A equals to A plus 3. That means A's value is 2 plus 3, 5. Again put it back in A. And then 5 plus 6, 11. And again put it back in A. Now, keep this concept in your mind. Keep this concept in your mind, because now we're going to do something. Now, guys, see, this is not the only way. There are a lot of ways and better ways, but that is something we'll learn in future sessions and in the advanced sessions. Right now, we can only focus on one way because we don't have a lot of time. Okay. So now let's just put back this thing into one line again. Please, everyone, focus. Please, please. Now that you know that thing, let me just try this and see if you guys can understand this. Okay, focus. Copy this thing. Now you guys tell me. Okay, let me just decrease the font size a little bit so that you can see everything. Okay, or let me just do this. Put it in here. Now you guys tell me, is this thing looking familiar to you? Is it looking like A equals to A plus B? Like whatever is in the A plus the new content, and again put it in the A. So document.get element by id 2 dot inner HTML equals to first whatever is there in that plus the new one, and again put it in the inner HTML. Is that cleared? So initially it's empty. So empty plus new one. But next time there will be something. So plus new one, plus new one, plus new one. And that's it. Because we know that inner HTML works both. It also gets it for you. It also sets it for you. So why not? We can use it. That's why I did that concept first. A equals to A plus B. So that it's easier for you guys to understand. So let's see. Let's see if it is working. Let's write Saurabh. Perfect. Let's write the next one, that is Thor. And here we go. Let's write let's upgrade. And here we go. Now the old things are there plus the new things are there. Okay. And can we take the first file, first inner HTML in value in some variable? No. In that case, the value will be stored, not the inner HTML. Right. So no, you can't do that. In that case, the value will be stored because I told you, right? Inner HTML works like both setter and getter. So if you store it in a variable, the inner HTML content will be stored there, not the current object. That's why you don't have to do that because you want to set it. But to make it more simple, now Vinod is asking, sir, एक बार दोबारा समझा दो. Okay, fine. See, I'll tell you, Vinod. See what is happening here. Okay. So first we're saying document.get element by id 2. That is simply this red element dot inner HTML equals to again dot inner HTML. That means we are getting whatever is there plus the new one. And whatever is made, I again set it back to the inner HTML of this same element. So basically, what we are doing is we are saying inside this element, first get whatever is there in this element plus the new thing, and then again put it back in this. That's it. That's what we are doing here. Because we know that inner HTML works as getter and setter. In this case, this line is working as getter. It's getting all the things that is there and it is adding this to that. And then whatever we get at the end, we're again put it back in this. Now we know that, right? We also do this to simplify this. To simplify this, we can also do this, right? A plus equal to 2. Right, guys? These two things are same, right, everyone? These two things are same. We know that, right? A equals to A plus 2 or A plus equals to 2. We have learned this in the operator session. These two things are same. So yes, we can definitely do it. Remove this extra part. And then simply use plus equal to. And that's it. Sorted. Done. That's it. No, you cannot use plus plus, Venkat. No, you don't have to use plus plus here. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Everyone, please tell me. Plus plus is strictly numeric. Is that clear, Venkat? Okay. So guys, let's see if it is actually working. Now, guys, there are other ways as well of doing the exact same thing, but this is one way. We're also going to see the second way, third way in some other sessions. So don't worry about it. And here we go. Thor, Iron Man. Let's see. Here we go. Perfect. We get everything. And that's it. Sorted. Done. Are we cleared, everyone, with this? Are we cleared? Please tell me, guys. Are we cleared with this? Everyone, I want every one of you to answer. Are we clear with this? I can still see a lot of people are like a little behind in the session. So right now they're answering my 11 answer. Okay. How to save value and after reload? You have to save it somewhere permanently, maybe in local storage or in some database. Because in this case, when I refresh, it will go ahead. It will like go away. Okay, everyone. Okay, Joju, don't worry. We're also going to do that. Now, guys, let's move. Like now it's almost like done. Now we can actually consider this like a to-do list. For example, like this. We can say take break. It's almost like that, but it's not well designed. Like take break. Let's say this is my to-do list. Drink tea. So yeah, it is working. It's working like that, but it's not well designed. And still it is not perfectly made. Venkatraman, what's your doubt, buddy? What is your doubt? What is your doubt? I can't see your doubt. I'm just going towards the chat. Going up in the chat. I can't see your doubt. Can you tell me your doubt again, Venkatraman? Venkatraman, what's your doubt, buddy? Okay. Now, guys, let's move ahead. Okay. And let's do something else. Let's make it good looking at least. Okay. So for that, let's go ahead and move this H1. We don't need it. Okay. Let's go ahead. Okay. Let's keep that, but I'll just comment it out so that if I share this file, you'll have it there. Comment it out. Comment this button. We don't need it. We only need two things. That's it. Save. Okay. Here we go. Perfect. So we have two things like this. Okay. And now let's style it a little bit. Let's do some styling, guys. Let's do some styling. So the first thing I want to do is move this H1 styling from here. And let me put like star. Everyone, I'm styling it a little bit. So margin of 0 pixel. Adding of 0 pixel. How to delete? Sir, in to-do list, how to delete take break. We can make that if you want, but I don't think we have a lot of time for that. So first let's add it. Then I'll also show you how to delete things. Don't worry. Let's first add it. Then I'll also show you how to delete things. Don't worry about it at all. Okay? Don't worry about it. Let's first start making it. Let's design it a little bit, guys. Let me just design it a little bit for you. Okay, and now let's style it. So 2's height width is fine. Okay, let me just make it normal again. This is the actual height width, guys. I have zoomed the page. So this is the actual height width. Now let's design it really quickly. Let's design it. So first of all, put this button on the top. We don't need it here. All these things are commented. Let me create a div for it. I really hope that you guys already know how to write HTML and CSS from the HTML and CSS sessions. So now basically I'm getting a simple design for this. That's it. Okay. And I want to put this on the top. Okay. Now let's give it a class of container. Style it. Dot container will have a padding top, actually padding from all the sides. So padding of 50 pixels from all sides. Perfect. And also, what else I want it to have a display of flex and justify content center. Guys, this is normal CSS. So you can also write your own CSS, it's totally fine. And also, actually, no, not, it is fine, but flex direction will be column line items center. So like this. Perfect. So now we have the text field, the button, and the red div. Now, let's do it. How can I change the H1 background color by clicking on the button using JS? Let's see. We can do that as well. Let's see at the end if we get time so that I can show you how to change CSS. Okay. Now, guys, let's move ahead. Let's give it no height. Let's simply give it a padding top. Sorry. Padding top of, guys, I'm just doing simple CSS. So you can do it in your own way. Everyone. Padding bottom of 50 pixel. Okay, width of 400 pixels. And let's say background color of like gray. Remove the red. Okay, so it's like this now. It's here. Let's style the button as well. Button have a padding top of 15 pixels maybe. Padding bottom of 15 pixels. And what I want is I want it to have a width of 100%. Oh, not this much actually, not this much. So let's leave it like 30%. This much is fine. Also, for input, I'm doing some basic CSS, guys. You can also do this CSS. So input, and here it will have a width of again 30%, exactly same, and a height of 50 pixels. And I want to reduce the padding to 12 and 12, maybe 50%. Text indent of 20 pixel, font size of 30 pixel, border radius of 10 pixels. Here we go. Input field is here now. And I want little gaps between them because the gaps are a little less. So let's go to the button and tell it to have margin top of 20 pixel. Okay. Here we go. Now we have the gap, and also it will have a margin bottom of 20 pixel. Like so. Okay. So now we have this input field. We have the button. Okay. And also for button, you can increase the font size. So font size of 20 pixel and text transform of like this. So now, and also let's remove the get name from here. So let's call it like add to do, something like that, or add to list, something like that. Here we go, add to list. So now what I have to do is, if I write something here, and if I click on add to list, it should be added here, and it's already working, right? We know that. See, it's already working. If I write something here, and if I just do this, See, it's already getting added here. But we want to make it look good. So for that, what we can do, let's do it here. So we are adding a h1, right? We're adding a h1 here. So let's also give it a class so that we can style it. So let's give it a class of like to do. Let's give it a class of to do. Okay. Now let's style this class. Style this class. Let's go in CSS dot to do. Have a padding top of like 10 pixels. Padding bottom of 10 pixels. And indent of 20 pixels maybe. Okay. And the width of 100%. Almost that's it, I feel. And also let's give it a margin actually. So margin from all around, I want to give 10 pixels like so. And yeah, remove the width actually, we don't need it. It will be already aligned accordingly. So no need of the width. Okay. You want text indent simply movement of text manas. So we simply move the text from the border. So from the end, we are simply moving it a little. And it only moves the first line. That's it. Text indent only moves the first line. It's simply like when you start writing a paragraph, always you write the first line a little ahead, right? So that's what you call as text indent. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. Now you can't see it directly because there is nothing in here. And also, let's remove this gray color. And let's give it a font size. So font size of like only 20 pixel and font weight of normal. Okay, now let's see, guys. Let's see. We write attend meeting, something like that. Here we go. We have attend meeting here. Okay. Venkat Swaraj is asking margin versus padding. See, I can explain you now, but we in that again we'll use time. Okay, so just for your answer, margin is also a fake size. Padding is also a fake size that is added onto the original size. But padding is a visible size and margin is an invisible size. And again, Venkat, if you want to know more about it, on this channel just 3 days ago, I took a session of HTML and CSS. You can just search for it. And there I have actually explained properly how margin works and how padding works. Right now, I'm just giving you the answer, the definition. You can go there. Just 3 days back, I took that session, 3 or 4 days back. You can watch it. I've explained how margin works and padding works with practical examples there. Is that clear, Venkat? Yes, Vinod, I am a full stack developer. Okay, guys, now let's make it look more little more better. Not 20, let's give it like 25 and let's give it a font family of Cjo UI. And I'll think that must be it. Or you can also give it like border. So border 1 pixel solid gray, something like that. Or let's not give it border, let's give it box. Let's give it box shadow. Box shadow 0, 0, 0, 2 pixel gray. Like so. And also border radius 10 pixels so that it looks good. Save it. And now let's see. End meeting. We have attend meeting now. Now guys, see, there's one more problem. It is not getting cleared by default. It is not getting cleared by default. So what to do for it? It's again simple. At the end of the function, what you can do is you can simply set the value. Simply set the value blank. That's it. So basically first get the value, then set it in that div, then set the value to blank. Simple. So document.get element by id inp dot value equals to blank. That means make it blank. So first get whatever is there, set it to the element, and then make it blank. And let's call this function add task instead of that, so that it sounds good, right? Add task. Change it there as well. So where is add task? Add task. Yeah. Get name. Remove the get name. Put add task. And also inside input field, let's not name. Let's put like task, like that. And also in the CSS, let me just remove the outline of the input field. So outline none, and border 1 pixel solid gray. Save it. And now let's see. So task, let's say attend meeting. Here we go. Let's add one more. Now see, it's getting cleared. It's cleared. Let's say go for shopping. Here we go. Go for shopping. Let's say take lecture. Here we go. Take lecture. So now that's how it is getting added. Right now it's not permanent, but don't worry. In future we can definitely make it permanent. But at least for the basics, I hope you're understanding this. So that's a simple, very basic to-do list that you can make. If I refresh, it will definitely go away because right now it's not stored permanently. Is that clear? So yes, in future, maybe when you come to our advanced sessions or maybe in some future sessions where we have a proper project session, in there, I can show you how to make an advanced to-do list. Like, yes, in that case, I can show you how to move them up and down, right? How to validate this input field, or how to clear this, or how to delete a single one of it. Maybe in some future project sessions. Is that clear, everyone? But right now, this is how you can use DOM manipulation. So for everyone who was asking in the start, actually where is JavaScript gonna help? So this is one example of how JavaScript will help you. Now, this is not the perfect way of creating to-do list, but at least this is the basic way. In advanced sessions, we create much more than to-do list. We create literally the Instagram clone, Facebook clone, WhatsApp clone with the best practices. So if you want, you can also join there and learn with me, right? We can learn everything together. And if you want, yes, in future, we're again going to take some different essentials. And in that, definitely, I'm going to create some other projects. Is that clear? Do we have a course only for advanced JavaScript? Arjun, you can do one thing. You can connect to us. Just go on LetsUpgrade.in, connect to us, and definitely we can talk it out. Like if you want to only learn this thing. And that way we can create to-do list with del update. And yeah, definitely. Sir, who will teach React? I'm going to take it, Kalyan. I'm going to take React on Saturday and Sunday, I think, right? Why another document at last? Just to clear this field. Sri Prasanna, just to clear this field. See, the first line is to take data from that field. The next line is setting that data in here. The last line is simply clearing the field. Is that clear, Sri Prasanna? How can I change the H1 background color by clicking a button using JS? Okay, let's. We have time, yeah. Okay, I can show it. I can show that to you. So you can do this. Let's say what I want to do is, okay, let me create a button here as well. Let me create a button. Change color. Okay, so I have one more button, change color. Now, your question was how to change the color. So I'm going to give you one example. You can use it for anything. Okay, so let's create a function. Function change color. Okay, and now first select the element, like select whatever element you want to change the color for. Okay, so if you want to change the H1's color, if you want to change this div's color, it's totally up to you. So let's say I want to change this div's color, which having ID of 2. So how to do that? So first select the element. So document dot get element by ID 2. Now I want to change the color of it. That is nothing but CSS. So to work with CSS, the first thing that you need here is you have to write style. And after style, dot whatever CSS property you want to use. So in this case, I'm going to use background color. So let's simply write background color and then whatever color you want. So let's say background color green, or let's say yellow green, whatever color you want here, right? And that's how you do it. So first select the element, then dot style dot any CSS property you want to manipulate. So in this case, I want to manipulate background color. So simply add background color in camel case, because in JavaScript, you cannot write CSS property the way you write in CSS, because in CSS, you have hyphens, and hyphens are considered as minus because it's a programming language. So you have to write all the properties in camel casing. So here we go. Background color equals to yellow green. So first, fetch the element dot style dot any CSS property you want to manipulate. That's it. Now let's do it. Let's copy this and let's call it on that button. I hope your doubt is clear, buddy. So you can change any, not only the color, you can change not only the background color, you can change the color, font size, anything. So let's do it. Let's add hello. Now let's click on change color. Here you go. See that? We change the color of the whole element. Camel casing is the just a way of writing. Like, see, just to show you, for all the people who don't know, see, this is lowercase. This is uppercase. Sorry, not this. This is uppercase. Or let's say I write this like this. This is lowercase. This is uppercase. Camel casing is for the alternate words for each next word, the first letter is capital. So you start with small like this, Saurabh. Now from here, for all the next words, the first letter will be capital. So let's say Saurabh Gupta. Let's say I want to write let's upgrade. So L capital, let's upgrade. This is what you call as camel casing. Is that clear? From start, you start small. Then for all the different words, the first letter is capital. Is that clear, Janisha? I hope it is clear to you. So this is lowercase, this is uppercase, this is camel case. Okay, because it looks like the hump of the camel, right? Hump of the camel is like taller than the camel. So that's how it looks like. So from there, the word comes camel casing. Okay, so everyone, that's it. We have not made like very amazing project, but at least we have made something. At least now you basically understand how to use DOM manipulation or where you can use it. And now at least you have understood that JavaScript has a use. Now this is like one of the very basic uses of JavaScript. You can literally do anything. Anything. You can animate things, you can move images here and there, you can move page up and down. Whatever interactions you see on the web page, all are made using JavaScript. Okay, and maybe in future sessions, or if you come to the advanced sessions, we are going to do it. Is that clear? Yes, Divya, get element by ID is also camel casing. Yes. HTML CSS programming. No, it's not a programming language, Venkat. No, HTML and CSS are not programming languages. See, everything comes under coding language category. Programming is something where you write logic. So HTML and CSS are not programming language. According to me, they are not programming. Now, I know that everyone has their own opinion, but according to me, HTML and CSS are not programming languages. You don't write programs there. You simply write some code that is creating some content. They are content creation languages, not programming languages. Is that cleared, Venkat? Okay, guys. So I think the last date of submitting the assignments is maybe Saturday. That is 11th. Okay. And for today's assignment, you have to create the exact same thing, exact same project that I have created. Okay. So all the assignments are already mailed to you and are on the community. But for today's assignment, you simply have to create the exact same thing, and you can enhance it if you want. You can make some color changes. You can make some functionality changes. It's totally up to you. You can enhance it. Is that cleared? No, Venkat, nope. See, usage of anything, put some load. But JS is important, right? If it is important, then you don't have to think of load or something like that. If it is important, if you want to do it, you have to use it. Right, Venkat? Is that cleared? So if it is important, it doesn't matter if it is putting some load on the server or not. Okay. Yesterday's assignment had binary operations again. No, Nitin, no. Yesterday's assignment was printing array in reverse. And I think there was also, I don't know, I don't remember what was the second question. One is printing assignment in reverse, and the other one was also related to arrays. I think there were like 10 elements in the array, but okay, I think you have to read it. Let me just read it. I don't remember now. Let me just get that folder from the desktop. What was it? Okay, yeah. So the next one was create an array with 10 numbers and print only the odd values. Yep. So that was it. Okay. So everyone, I really hope that you guys enjoyed the session. I really hope that you guys learned something new. Now, if you want, you can also come in LetsUpgrade.in. So if you want to connect with us, just go on LetsUpgrade.in, join the community. You'll be updated. And if you want, you can also join the advanced sessions where we're going to have like literally everything from scratch to becoming a full stack developer with 15 to 20 projects. Okay, so if you want, you guys can join there, or in future we're again going to have few more essentials. You can come there, join us, and learn with us. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this session. Please let me know in the chat, guys, did you guys enjoy it or not? I really hope that you learned something new. And that's it for today. Now from tomorrow, we are starting with responsive web design. So from tomorrow, I'm going to teach you how to make your website responsive. But for that, I want all of you guys to actually revise your HTML and CSS. Is that clear, everyone? So just go back. If you don't know HTML and CSS, just go back 3 or 4 days back. I took a session for HTML and CSS. Watch it if you don't know. And if you know, just revise your HTML and CSS again. Because from tomorrow, we are starting with responsive web design. And I'm expecting that you guys already know HTML and CSS for that session. So please come with the preparation of HTML and CSS, and we'll directly start making, or we'll directly start understanding how to make responsive websites. Is that clear? And the assignment deadline, not only for today's, all the assignment deadline is 11th. So I think 11th is your assignment deadline. So please submit all the assignments by 11th. And from tomorrow, we're going to like start with responsive, and on Saturday we are again starting with React Essentials. So I really hope that all of you will be there. I want to see all of you there. Okay, so guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for learning with me, and I'll see you all of you tomorrow in the responsive session. So bye bye guys, good night. See you tomorrow exactly at 6, everyone. Bye bye, see you tomorrow.